Okay, so yesterday at the Bernabeu, in the late game, Real Madrid beat Valencia 5-1, and it's always great to beat Valencia. No matter the situation, it's always fantastic, and especially to beat them 5-1, it's a great result at all times for Real Madrid. And, it was... Maybe the scoreline didn't reflect how the game panned out, but it showed us how clinical we were, which is a definite it's definite improvement from previous weeks, and it showed us how well the attackers played, especially. Let's start with the starting lineup, because it was an interesting starting lineup. Most notable of that was the fact that Jude Bellingham was not back. He was expected to be back for this game, but he was not, and he's obviously going to miss the next few weeks. I don't think he's going to come on England with the international break. So yeah, I think that was interesting. Is that a little bit of a concern for you? The Bellingham's recent injuries. I've been a little bit concerned with how much we've been using him, especially because he's looked a bit tired over the last few weeks. Do you think it's a little bit of an issue in the coming weeks where we're overusing Bellingham, maybe, especially knowing that we can play like this without him? Do you reckon we should rest him a little bit more?
I think Ancelotti never had like a replacement for him who can contribute at a high level, or who can contribute the contributions in terms of goals and assists that he did. And if Diaz can maybe score more, or maybe be involved more and score more goals and assist more goals, and of course it is going to make it easier for Ancelotti to give Bellingham the rest that he deserves, because you are 100% correct. Some of the games he maybe looked a bit tired. He looked like he maybe needed a bit of a substitution, but then we had no one else maybe to come on and maybe score if we take him off. So of course I fully well understand what you're saying, and it's more about having other players contribute now for him to be able to get the rest that he deserves in the upcoming weeks. The good news is that it's not like it's a knee injury or a hamstring injury where it's going to take some time to get better. It's a shoulder injury, which means that he will have time to recover the other muscle groups in his body to sustain it for the entire season. So that's at least one positive from this.
Yeah, and I hope he can stay back, because England don't exactly need him. England are already qualified to the Euros, so we don't need him to come to the international break, help us try and win the final two group games. So I think we should. England should be fine without Bellingham, and therefore I think we should keep him behind, just keep him fit, healthy with Real Madrid. And then let's talk about the other notable part, which was Kepa was injured midweek. Now, that was against Braga in the warm up, and Andre Lunin had to come in Braga. He played an excellent, great game in Braga. He in the Bernabeu against Braga. He made a penalty save. He made a couple of other brilliant saves against Braga, and he did it once again today. I thought Andre Lunin was really, really good. He saved those two chances from Hugo Duro in the first half. Obviously, he was a bit unlucky in the end to concede that one goal, but he was excellent, I thought. And if he continues this form, I think he's been better than Kepa has been. So, I think he's come out with a point to prove, definitely. And I think Andre Lunin is showing us maybe he should be the starting goalkeeper over Kepa, because his performances have been a lot more assertive, I've been a lot more confident with Andre Lunin than I have been with Kepa. That isn't a knock on Kepa. He's been solid, but I think Andre Lunin has been better in these last two games. So what are your thoughts on Andre Lunin's performance?
Yeah, I think this season he's been better than Kepa. It doesn't mean that he's the better player or the better goalkeeper than Kepa as of now, but he is in better form. I think this is maybe a similar situation to what Kepa has in the past, where he's had another goalkeeper showing better form than him, despite the fact that maybe Kepa is more talented or maybe is a better goalkeeper in terms of his shot stopping, but Lunin is maybe giving us a bigger presence, and he is, of course, he isn't looking unsure of himself, which is something we can't really 100% say about Kepa, if I'm being honest. So I think as a goalkeeper, you need to assert calmness, you need to make sure that you have a lot of composure. I think he's doing that well, if I'm being honest. Like I said, it's not the same with Kepa. Unfortunately, not. We knew what we was getting with Kepa. And one of the positives that I see when we signed Kepa was that if we sign a goalkeeper like Kepa, it gives us a chance. It gives Lunin a chance to get more minutes because Kepa isn't way better than Lunin. Kepa is an amazing goalkeeper, but he isn't way better than Lunin. And I think it gives Lunin the opportunity to maybe fight for the number one jersey this season, an opportunity he never had in previous seasons. So that's one of the positives of signing Kepa, because Kepa is a good goalkeeper and we have two good goalkeepers in the squad. If we don't count Quarter, we have two good goalkeepers, and gives them the opportunity to fight for the number one spot and allows him to get more minutes in bigger matches if he can show that he's capable of doing so.
Yeah, and I think he deserves the next few games. Even if Kepa comes back, I think he deserves them. I hope Ancelotti does give it to him. I think it should be based on merit, and I think between these two goalkeepers, they're very, very. I think they're on the same level, to be totally honest. And I think if one has a bad game, I think it should be dropped, and one has a good game, then you should continue playing them. I think that's how it should work. In previous games, Real Madrid have had an issue with starting off quick-paced. Real Madrid have been poor in this regard. We've struggled to get off the mark, especially with other teams scoring against us really early. However, I think it shows how important it is for Real Madrid to start off well. That in the fact that Dani Carvajal scored that early goal, which is an absolute beauty of a goal, by the way. One touch, it sits up for him, and then he strikes it with his weak foot. It's so important to get that early goal, because that the space opens up for Vini and Rodrygo, which makes life so much easier for them. How important to you do you think it is that we score a goal? It doesn't matter if we're winning in the early moments of the game, but rather just score a goal and open up the game. How important do you think that is?
Yeah, it's important that we score. Early on, it's important that we even not just score, but we maintain pressure and just keep on creating chances for our strikers. Because of course you always say goals in matches. Of course, maybe once in a while you'll have your chance and score, and you have to be clinical. But the more chances you create, the more likely you are to win the game. I think it's a bit disappointing in earlier this season when we wouldn't take in our chances. And now I think goals in matches, and as good as our defense has been this season, I remember you were saying at the start of the season that we need to be good at the back. And of course, similar to the 1920 season when we won the league under Zidane, we need to be good at the back, which we have been. We have been good at the back, but I do believe that goals in matches. And if we can improve our attack, then I think that's the first step to winning. Well, it's another step in taking control of the league, because we are in a good position in the league. Going into the international break, whatever happens with the other results with Barca and Atletico, whenever they play, we are in a good position, and I do believe that we can win this league if we can get Valencia, Rodrygo, and Jose Bellingham, and even Brahim firing all at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the front two, because they were exceptional today. Now, last week, obviously, Bellingham got injured, and I was kind of intrigued when Bellingham was out, because I thought, okay, let's finally see what's wrong with Rodrygo and Vini, because I think I had one or two possibilities with this. It was either a confidence issue, which I was pretty confident that was the issue with Rodrygo, not Vini, and then the other one was the system issue. I'm not sure which one it is still, but what happens when Bellingham comes back in? Because do you think personally is it a system issue for Vini and Rodrygo, because it's been 2 games and they've almost matched or bettered their output so far this season in these last 2 games? Or do you think it's just been a confidence issue? When Bellingham comes in, it will just be a quick fix, we're all good, and the front three's firing again? Do you think it's that, or do you think it's the system?
I highly doubt it's a system, because in the game against Braga, we played a similar system. Only today the system shifted a bit with Brahim Diaz playing a bit deeper. But in the game before, I think it was the same system that we normally play with Bellingham. I think it's more of a confidence, and they just needed a game, like 2 games like this for the floodgates to open. Because, for example, if you look at it, if I'm being honest with you, if you look at it, some of the goals weren't like world-class goals. Not world-class goals. They were amazing goals, but some of the goals is not like goals where you can say it's because of the system. Because one of the goals today was Rodrygo on the width sending a ball in for Vinicius. You can do that without Bellingham. One was a mistake from the goalkeeper. You can do that without Bellingham. One was Vinicius driving from deep and stamping it when he cut in from the left wing. You can do that without Bellingham. You can do that with Bellingham or without Bellingham. It doesn't matter if he's on the pitch. And of course, and if Bellingham really is affecting them, then of course we can just play Bellingham deeper and play Brahim Diaz if Brahim Diaz can unlock them, if I'm being honest. If playing Brahim Diaz unlocks Vinicius and Rodrygo, then still start Bellingham. But play him a bit deeper, when maybe we can give Vinicius and Rodrygo the freedom. But I think for me, it's just the confidence issues. They just need these goals for the floodgates to open.
Yeah, for me, I think it's so obvious when that Rodrygo and Vini are both wingers. They are wingers, and they just in this game I thought it was quite apparent where they were just floating around everywhere rather than just sticking to a rigid position that a striker would. I think Vini was on the left. He cut in quite a lot in this game and did really, really well. And I think it stresses the importance of Vini just playing the game, because often he's just distracted by other things, and often it is fair enough, with racism and stuff like that. It's fair enough. You a lot of people, I'm not going to be any better than that. If someone's shouting slurs at me, I'm I'm obviously going to get distracted by that. So I understand that. But when often other opposite team is hacking Vini down and he's complaining to the referee all the time, I think it affects his performance so much. People were comparing him to Cristiano after the Rayo game, where Cristiano used to get abuse from the fans and often got tough challenges. Ronaldo's is unique in that regard, and you can't really compare Vini to Ronaldo in that regard. So Vini is completely different to Cristiano. So you've got to realize that Vini isn't going to be that type of player to get abuse from the fans, from the referees, from the opposite team, and then just score a hat-trick. He is not that type of player. But what you want Vini to do is you want Vini to just play the game and look how good he is at it. Look how good, because he was... Maybe it wasn't exactly, he wasn't impacting the game from minute 1 to 90, but he got the impact when it was required. He was taking on the defenders when it was required. He was beating his man when it was required. He was scoring the goals. And I think that's just what's important. So for me, I think that you just got to get Vini to just play football, because he absolutely cooked Thierry Correa on the Valencia right back. And it just seems so apparent to me that Valencia just couldn't contain him because of the fact he was just playing and not looking for fouls, not looking to go down at any possible opportunities. Because if it was a situation where Real Madrid can take advantage of those free kicks, then fair enough. But we have not got the players to take advantage of those free kicks most of the time. Rudiger isn't exactly playing at the best of his ability in terms of aerially. And you've got Alaba, Nacho, these guys who aren't going to really head the ball. So, we haven't really got the players to take advantage of free kicks. There's no point trying to win them all the time. So, I think it was an exceptional performance by Vini because he tried to play the game. And I think that's what I enjoyed from Vini today. So what are your thoughts on Vini's performance?
Yeah, of course, having Vinicius back at his best is one of the most important aspects for us having a successful season. Perez have a lot of faith in Vinicius and Rodrygo. I think that's why, it's highly unlikely we'd see Diaz or Hostel starting over them in any big match or any match where maybe it's at the Bernabeu when maybe you want to see excitement with the fans. I think Vinicius and Rodrygo are the go-to guys, are the guys that Madrid will always look to for goals. I think Ancelotti said that Vinicius and Rodrygo will score more goals than Jude Bellingham this season. So we are waiting, and I'm waiting to see how that evolves. I still think that Bellingham will score a lot of goals, and Vinicius and Rodrygo will score a lot of goals without Bellingham. But I think Vinicius on yesterday, in particular, showed more confidence. I don't think how it's a home game at the Bernabeu, there wasn't much pressure on him from the away fans. So I think maybe he needs to work on his mental aspect as well, to play in those tough away matches. And it's difficult to blame him because he's been in situations that a lot of individuals can't handle. A lot of individuals would speak about him but not walk in his shoes. So Vinicius is the player, I have a lot of faith in. He's a player I will never criticize. I'm sure you know that even when he was in his best form, he's a player I've always had faith in. So I honestly, I won't criticize him when he's in bad form due to a lot that has happened to him and due to what he has overcome at Madrid to be our best player and most important player on those big nights. So, of course, yesterday, him getting into form, him playing under a little less pressure than he would normally play under was a big impact on him doing much better. And of course, with Rodrygo, him getting that goal in midweek and then scoring again would do wonders for him.
Yeah, and I think it's time for Rodrygo to step up. He's shown in the last 2 games. I think completely. I've always had the thought that it's just being confidence with Rodrygo rather than the system. And he showed it once again today. He was really, really good. This was his best performance of the season, and it's one of his best performances ever, in my opinion. He was amazing yesterday. Sorry, he was scoring. He was obviously assisting, setting up the goals for Vini, and it was just he was impactful in every regard of the game. He was picking up the ball from deeper and then driving it forward. He was that one play where he picked up the ball and he was smothered from all directions, and he kind of turned his back and then found Vini somehow, and Vini just missed the shot. He hit it straight into Mamardashvili. But I think we know which play I'm talking about. But Rodrygo was exceptional. Like he was finding his pockets of space from everywhere, and this is when Rodrygo is at his best, where he can just get in these little tight spaces and affect the game from there. He was absolutely incredible yesterday, and this was one of the best performances I've seen of him. When he's playing like this, you can't really stop him, and you just want this consistency from him. He goes on the purple patches, but he also goes on the bad patches as well. You just want to see a consistent run of form, throughout a whole season. And I think Rodrygo, now he has the opportunity to build on this and try and score some more goals, try and provide some more assists, put some more performances like this ahead in front of us. And I think Rodrygo can really do that for us. So what are your thoughts on Rodrygo's performance?
Yeah, it was amazing. He showed glimpses of what he did on last season, and some of the matches where his link-up play was exceptional with Benzema and Vinicius and Valverde. Today, his link-up with Vinicius was key. There was this particular link-up when it resulted in a shot for Vinicius when he was offside. I'm not too sure if you would have remembered that one, but when I saw that moment, that's when I knew that today would have been a good game for both of them. Vinicius threw with the ball, linked up with Rodrygo, who served his way past 2 or 3 players before leading it back to Vinicius. I think when they have the confidence, they can do that. That's why I said it's with or without Bellingham, they will have the confidence, because of course it's things like that, would help the team. And why I believe that they will do better with Bellingham, because they did well with the focal point in Benzema last season and the season before. So Bellingham is maybe similar, like a focal point for them, maybe someone who can link the midfield to the attack. So I'm hoping that they can continue their form when Bellingham does come back. Because of course a lot of people are maybe a bit short-sighted, or maybe they won't remember that far back. If Madrid play another match and we don't score, then we're going to say that we need Bellingham. Then some people would say that now that Bellingham impacts Vinicius and Rodrygo, which I don't think is the case. It's just confidence, and maybe if Bellingham doesn't play the next game, we might struggle to score, and then we might win, we might draw, we might lose, and then we will see how important Bellingham is to this team, because he is like one of the focal points in this team.
Yeah, I mean the defense. Let's talk about the defense. I think Valencia created quite a few chances. Those Hugo Duro chances were the main ones, which Duro missed mostly, which is good for us. And I think, to be totally honest, our defense wasn't great in this game. The total defensive performance wasn't great. I thought aerially we were poor, but obviously you're going to expect that when you have 5'11" Alaba and 6' Nacho in the defense. It's not exactly, you don't really have titans at the back right there. But I thought individually Dani Carvajal was good. I thought Mendy was actually quite good as well. I just don't think it was. Once again, I don't think it is individual problems. I think a lot of Madrid fans got on Alaba's back for this game. I don't think it was his worst game, to be totally honest. But yeah, it was just total, as a collective, it wasn't a great defensive performance. We were leaking quite a few chances. Camavinga, I think, was he was up and down in this game. I think he had some good moments and he also had some bad ones. I just think it's consistently been that we've just been a bit poor at the defensive end, but we're somehow still only conceding 1 goal a game, and that's gonna win us the league if we get there. But we're talking about our team not conceding the least in La Liga so far. We're dodgy. We're very, very dodgy at the back, but we are getting the job done. The same with the corners. We haven't conceded a corner yet. Conceded a goal from a corner yet this season. I don't know how. We somehow just deal with it each time that the corner comes in, but we're not convincing in that way. So, would you like to see a little bit more convincing convincing play in terms of the defense going forward?
Yes, certainly, because like you said, we need to be at our best defensively in the big matches, in the best of matches. Our defense couldn't nearly cost us against Barcelona. Our defensive structure costed us against Atletico Madrid. It's these type of matches where you need your defense, in those big matches to come up top, to come up clutch, because that's when maybe it gets a bit difficult in those big matches. And I believe that sometimes our defense we're a bit poor. We struggled a lot in those big matches, and then we depended on our attack, to get us out of trouble. I think if we can do better early on and keep it tight early in the game, because we have struggled early in the game, before we settle into matches. If we can keep it tight early in the game, I think the defense and the team would go playing together, and then the defense won't be such an issue. So for me, I believe Ancelotti is doing better this season in terms of having a better structured defense. But under Ancelotti, under Zidane, Madrid don't have the best of defensive structures, because we don't have a set system compared to many other teams. But the good news is that of course we do have good individual talent in the defense to cover counter attacks, and of course to cover transitional plays. So that's the good news. But of course the bad news is that at Madrid they never have the tactical system for defense. Let's say other teams like maybe Arsenal or Liverpool or Manchester City. So unfortunately, it's just something we have to accept at Madrid. It's been going on for a while, so it's not something I'm shocked about, but it's something that maybe would be fixed when Xabi Alonso comes in.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we're not going to solve this now. I don't think it's going to be something we're going to solve, but I do want to see us put more convincing defensive performances when we play against Bayern Munich or Manchester City or something like that. Against Valencia, it's fine. You can just do the job. That's fine. That's fine by me. I don't care. But as long as you're getting the wins, racking up the wins, not conceding 3 goals a game, is fine, I think. Nico Paz, now 2 games in a row he's come off the bench. Against Braga, he was good, I thought, in the very limited minutes he got. And once again today, I thought he was good as well. I think, the thing he's been actually quite good at is he's been quite useful defensively, to be honest. I think there's been a little bit of emphasis on that from Ancelotti, because you know if you want to break into the first team, ultimately you're gonna have to show a little bit more metal defensively, because he's not exactly gonna break in based on his attacking talents ahead of Vinicius Junior. But I thought, you know, defensively he was very solid. I thought he was not no pushover, which I thought was one of his weaknesses coming out of Castilla, which is the fact he's very slight. He isn't exactly the biggest, is he? You know, he's quite slight, quite skinny. But so far so good for Nico Paz. I thought he's looked really solid defensively, and you know that's obviously not why he's caught the attention of Ancelotti and the first team. But you know, get the defense right, and I think you know he's gonna have the opportunity to show his attacking talents as well in the future. So I'm happy with Nico Paz's performance. I'm happy that he's getting minutes as well. You know, it's unfortunate what's happened to Arda Güler as well, because you know another injury. You know, completely unrelated to the previous ones. It's really annoying. It's really annoying. You know, but what can you do at the end of the day? You just gotta carry on, hope that, you know, I just don't want them to rush it, because I think this injury was a result of rushing Arda Güler. Just don't rush it. Take your time. We don't need him at this current moment in time. We can, you know, whatever Arda Güler brings is going to be an added bonus. So just slow the recovery process, and just take your time with him, because you know he's very fragile at the moment. So, yeah, your thoughts on Nico Paz and Arda Güler?
Okay, first let me start with the Gula incident. I'm not too sure if you're seeing, but I think Mark just stated that we released our head of our medical services in the club due to the issues that Gula is having. So I'm not too sure exactly if that situation would change if when we have someone else come in. I think Nico Mejica is his name, the chief medical officer, which will have just 2 meet to this contract due to the lapses of Arda Güler being like the final extra. I'm sure you'll see that shortly coming out. Maybe the news might be a bit bigger now. With Güler's injury, something like this would get a bit more exposure. So let's see what happens under a new medical officer, under new advice. Let's see what happens to him. It's a bit disappointing from a player perspective that we're going into December and he's yet to play. So for now, hopefully we can just take our time with him so that he can be available in the second half of the season when the schedule gets a bit thicker following the winter interval. So that's my point on Güler. We have to take our time with him. We have Nico Paz who can maybe cover for him and maybe be an X factor until Güler comes back. But I'm not keeping all my eggs in that basket, because if I'm being honest, Nico Paz is just there because Bellingham is injured, Ceballos is injured, and Tchouaméni is injured. If you look at it, they're all going to come on ahead of Nico Paz, which is, of course, rightly so, because they are all more experienced. They are better players now. It's similar to the Sergio Ribas last season, or they're not going to play because we have a full team. And, of course, only because these guys are injured, Nico Paz is coming in. So normally Ceballos will be coming off the bench, Bellingham will be starting, and then Brahim might get 10 minutes off the bench. So for me, I don't think he's going to get much minutes unless there's an injury crisis, or unless it's like a cup game, or unless when you go to the Super Cup de España, he might call up some Castilla players. So let's see how that goes.
Yeah, it's very interesting about the medical, the chief of medical stuff, and I think you know it was 100% right. You can't deal with it in that way. It was completely stupid to deal with it. You rush him back, because it's not like we're rushing back Jude Bellingham or anything. It's Arda Güler, and he hasn't played so far this season, and so far this season it's been good. So it was stupid, in my opinion, to rush him back so quickly. But another good result. Although elsewhere in La Liga, Barcelona played today in the early game against Alaves. I wouldn't count on Alaves to beat Barcelona there. And then Atleti, Villarreal, they've got a difficult game with Atleti. Hopefully they drop points there. That's a difficult game. Hopefully Villarreal could do something. They always cause us problems, but always struggle against the others. So I don't know about that one. Girona won yesterday, extended their lead, but it was obviously cut down, and they beat Rayo Vallecano 2-1. So yeah, so far this season it's been really good from Girona. I've been really impressed by Girona. Just a quick question on Girona. Do you think they can keep it up? Because I would love it if Girona keep it up, keep making it a 4-man race, because that's good for La Liga. But do you think Girona have the mettle to do it? But I think one thing that is good for Girona is the fact they don't have a single star player that is dragging them through games. Savio's been good. I think Viktor Siankov has been really good. Artem Dovbyk has been really good as well. Girona have a good squad. That's the thing, and that's been the reason why they've been winning games, not just because of individuals. So, do you think Girona can keep it up, or do you think they'll eventually fall off? Which I think they will.
Yeah, I think they will, but let me just say that if Madrid don't win the league, they would be the team I would want to win the league.
Yeah.
They along with Sociedad are two teams that I like a lot. Two teams that I believe that if they can continue doing well, they can be like the next Sociedad in the league, where they can consistently stay within the top 7, the top 8, despite the fact when they're having a bad season, they finish 8. I hope that they can maintain that performances, because I do like them. They are a good team. So of course, for now, I don't think that they would. But of course, if I'm being honest, I would say they would have let's say a 50% chance of qualifying for the Champions League, because those teams always drop off, unfortunately. And they will have let's say a 2% chance of winning the league, if I'm being honest. And that's a lot, because of course Leicester City was 5,000 to 1. So I would give them even a much lower chance, maybe 1% or 0.5% of winning the league. It's highly unlikely they would win the league, but it was highly unlikely Leicester City would win the league. If I have to put my life on it, no, they won't win the league, but they would qualify for the Champions League, and Atletico Madrid would eventually pass them. And then they might scrape in the Champions League over the 4th place team, maybe Sociedad. But for now, they are in a good position. They don't have other competitions that they can focus on. They can just focus on the league. Maybe they might have reinforcements in the winter, but let's see what happens. But for me, I don't think that they can keep this up. But for now, they're playing good football. They're winning matches, and they are doing well. I think they are the best attacking team in La Liga, and goals win matches. So until that dries up, they would always have a chance, but not a big chance.
Yeah, Girona are obviously doing really well. Hopefully they can keep it up. Like you said, Girona, Real Sociedad, two teams that I really enjoyed watching this season. Real Sociedad, maybe they're not getting the results that are, challenging in La Liga, but they're playing good football, and they've been really good in the Champions League. So hopefully these two teams can do really well. Hopefully Barcelona and Atleti fall off a cliff. But yeah, it's been good from these two teams, and Girona top of the La Liga table heading into the international break. So yeah, Real Madrid heading into the international break. What are your thoughts? Final thoughts on this game? Maybe the Braga game in midweek, or last week against Rayo. Any thoughts heading into the international break?
Well, the good news is that we are in a good position in the league. Well, whatever happens, like I said with the other games, if you would have told us that Valencia and Rodrygo wouldn't be at their best at the start of the season, now we are still ahead of Barcelona and Atletico Madrid in the table. We would all take that. So for me, I'm happy with what's going on, and hopefully at the end of this international break we can keep things going. The only concern I have is normally falling international duties. The form is normally a bit off to start again. So hopefully that this time we can maintain our focus. Good. Better news, we have Diaz, who always plays with energy. So I believe that if Ancelotti does the correct thing, Diaz will be starting after the international break, because he's always fit and he's always healthy, and he gives us a lot of energy. So that just might take. Normally after international duty, he always comes back a bit jagged and maybe not 100%.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully some of the Madrid players don't get too overused in the international break. Obviously Modric is going to get overused because he plays for Croatia, but hopefully Jude doesn't get taken on international break. Hopefully the Brazilian guys don't get taken, but they will. And yeah, Fede's can obviously play a little bit there. He had a good game, I thought, yesterday as well. Just quiet but good. Solid, ticking everything over like he's been doing this season. everyone, play their part in that game. I think it was just a solid game from the whole team. And I was happy. Whenever we beat Valencia, it's a happy day. And if we beat Valencia 5-1, it's an extremely happy day. So hopefully Barcelona drop points today. Not too positive over that. No, I don't think that's going to happen. But hopefully Athletic drop points today. That's going to be interesting. And also another game in La Liga that I'll be very interested about. Sevilla versus Real Betis, just a shout out to Isco. Isco's been magnificent this season. I've been so happy seeing Isco playing so well for Real Betis. Hitting his best form since probably 17-18, in my opinion. He's been absolutely incredible so far this season. Betis are also going to add Nabil Fekir as well to that squad. So I would be interested to see how Isco and Fekir play together. So that's all I've got to say. Apart from that, I think that is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's Los Blancos podcast. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.